Hey there you guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be a tutorial on the Pumpkin Queen look that I'm wearing now. So it's kind of a mixture between a pumpkin and a skull, so it's going for like a carved pumpkin kind of skull look. And I really like how it turned out. It's like one of the first like full-on Halloween makeup tutorials that I've ever done. And I have done a sugar skull in the past and that was a lot of fun, so I wanted to challenge myself with this look, and I really like how it turned out. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything, any new videos or any of that, and make sure you check out my social media and follow me there too. So let's just get right into the tutorial. Hey guys, so I'm starting off this look with a fresh face. And I'm going to go in with my Ben Nye Cream Colors in Special Orange. And to apply this, I'm using my Clinique foundation brush, and it's just a flat panel brush, but honestly any foundation brush will do the trick for this look. So since the cream color is a little bit on the sheer side, I'm going to apply a couple layers of it in order to get that real saturated orange that I'm looking for. So I'm just going to kind of speed along this process because it's pretty self-explanatory. So now I'm going to go in with my NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk, and I'm going to start carving out my skull face. So I'm going to draw a line from the top of my ear to the corner of my mouth to create my like skull jaw cheekbone thing, and then I'm going to map my face out into different sections for the ridges of my pumpkin. The sections in the front of my face are going to be larger and get smaller as they go out towards my face. So now that I've kind of sketched out all the places where the pumpkin's going to be in the skull face, I'm going to take my Maybelline gel liner in Black is Black and just an angled brush, and I'm going to start outlining just the cheekbone line. So I'm going to draw a line from the corner of my ear, following that white line that I already created to the corner of my mouth. And I'm also going to be kind of creating a little bit of a lip at the bottom, so I'm going to start curving down and then curving right back up to the edge of my mouth. And it's alright if these lines aren't perfect, because we're working with creams, we can kind of clean them up as we go along. So now I'm going to take that same Maybelline eyeliner and I'm going to kind of pack it on my lid. I'm not going to go up into the crease because I don't want it to be too messy. And I'm also going to take it on my lower lash line and into my waterline. So this is going to create a nice cream black base for the shadows that we're going to put on next. So now that we've laid down that gel eyeliner, I'm going to smudge it out using the Must Have smudge brush from Sephora. Any like dense buffering brush will really do the trick for this, but I'm just kind of blending in that black with that orange. So now I'm wiping off the tip of my nose and I'm going to start kind of mapping out my skull nose. And I'm going to be using a Sigma eyeliner brush to do this because it's a little bit more precise than that angled brush I was using before. So now I'm going to take another Ben Nye cream color in white, and I'm going to start mapping out where my highlights are going to go. So I'm just going to use the same Clinique foundation brush to do this, and I'm just going to go in with a very light hand to start off with. And I'm really just kind of planning where those bright white highlights are going to go. And I'm focusing mainly on the center sections of my pumpkin face because those ridges are higher up and the light is going to hit them first. So that is why the highlight is going there. Now I'm going to use my Morphe M224 brush and that white cream color again, and I'm going to make those highlights extra bright. I'm going to make sure that I focus this in the center of the sections that I created, and I'm just going to be careful to blend that out with the orange so it's a nice seamless transition. I'm also going to make sure that I focus the highlight in the areas that I would normally highlight if I were doing my makeup like on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to focus that on my cheekbones, on my forehead, and my chin so those areas really pop. I'm also going to be adding a small highlight right on that little curve on my upper lip, and this is going to give the illusion that this part of the lip is overlapping with the jaw underneath. So now at this point, I'm just going to kind of fast forward through this so you can kind of see me working and blending. But all we're doing is we're putting the highlight in the very center of the sections that we drew out with the NYX pencil. We're gonna just be blending that out so it's a nice seamless transition. But again, the reason why we're putting the white in the center is to make that look more pronounced and give the illusion that it's raised. So now I have all of my cream colors kind of laid out, and I'm going to start kind of setting all of those colors so they don't slide around as we're working. So I'm going to use my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder in this Sephora Kabuki brush to just set all of those creams. So I'm just going to get a generous amount of powder, and I'm going to go over my entire face, including my eyes. Now using the Makeup Forever Shadow M656 and my Sigma Tapered Blending Brush, I'm going to begin blending out that Maybelline gel eyeliner a little bit more. So I'm going to be focusing the shadow mainly on my crease and like the outer edge of the eyeliner, if you will. So I'm just going to kind of use like windshield wiper and swirly messy motions to really blend this out and get that skull eye socket look going. So now using the same Makeup Forever shadow that I used on my eye, I'm going to take that below the line for my upper jaw. I'm not exactly sure what the correct term for this is. I feel kind of bad, but I'm just going to kind of create a base for the shadow that we will deepen up later. Now to smoke things out a little bit more, I'm going to use the Makeup Forever shade M618. I'm just going to continue to build that smoky, hollowed out eye socket look. So now I'm going to take the shade Crave from the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette and my same Sigma blending brush, and I'm going to focus this shadow mainly on my lid, not going too far out because I really don't want to muddy up the shadows that I've already laid down. So I'm going to focus this on my lid and on my lower lash line. I'm also going to take Crave and I'm going to put it underneath that line along with the other shadow that I put down there. And this is just going to kind of deepen up that shadow that we're building up. So I'm going to focus it mainly underneath the line, but I'm also going to blend it out down towards my jaw. So now using the Makeup Forever Shadow M656 and an angled brush, I'm going to begin kind of filling in my brows. And to start off with, I'm going to just fill them in like I normally would. But as I go along, I'm going to kind of flick my brush up towards my forehead to create individual brow hairs. And my goal is to kind of create really bushy, like crazy looking brows, so you can get a little bit more creative with this step. And to give my brows a little bit more definition, I'm going to take the Gimme Brow in shade 3. I'm just going to comb through my brow hairs, and it'll just kind of darken things up and make it a little bit more thick and full. So I don't know why I forgot to do this before, but I'm going to just take that orange cream color and I'm going to cover up my lips so I don't have pink lips sticking out on an orange face. And I'm also going to be setting that using the same Laura Mercier translucent setting powder in my Kabuki brush. So now that I kind of took a step back and looked at my makeup, I realized I really did need to deepen that shadow underneath that line. So I'm going back in with Crave and I'm just going to darken things up a bit. So now using my Morphe 350 palette in that beautiful burnt orange shade, I'm going to start carving out the sections that I initially made with my NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk. And I realized after filming this that I didn't clean my brush out in between, so that's why it appears so dark, because it's basically Crave mixed with that orange shade. So if you decide to recreate this look, please make sure that you do what I didn't and clean out your brushes in between colors. So now I'm going to go in with the Makeup Forever Shadow M738 and just a fluffy eyeshadow brush. I'm going to deepen up those ridges, and this is just a beautiful kind of brick orangey red that's going to give us a nice shadow kind of transition color in our ridges. I'm also going to take this same shade and I'm going to kind of put it on the outer edge of my makeup. By this I mean I'm going to take it all the way into my hairline a little bit on the edge of that orange makeup, and it's going to kind of act as a contour. So it's going to give my face a little extra dimension, and it's going to make the edge of the pumpkin face makeup not appear so flat. I'm pretty much going to be taking this Makeup Forever shadow in every sort of little ridge and crevice of the pumpkin face. And I'm also going to take it a little bit below my lower lip to give that a little bit more dimension and make it pop a little bit more. And I'm also going to be using it as sort of a transition shade with Crave that I put on under that sort of cheekbone ridge. And I'm just going to kind of diffuse that black with this burnt orange. So using the Makeup Forever shade M738 and my Sephora eyeshadow brush, I'm just going to use the edge of it, and I'm really going to concentrate this shadow and create a line to deepen that shadow. Before I've blended it out so it's a little bit smoother, but now I'm going to go in deeper and kind of accentuate that shadow. Just like I did before with the shadow on my forehead, I'm also going to take it on my jawline to kind of give that pumpkin face a more contoured look. And it's really going to add some extra dimension and make that jawline pop. So now using my MAC 239 brush, I'm going to dip into that Makeup Forever shadow again. It's M738, and I'm going to give myself some pretty expressive looking eyebrows. So this is actually going to mimic like the muscle that's in between your brows, so it'll look like we have a really furrowed kind of angry brow here. I'm also going to be taking that on the bridge of my nose, and I'm just going to create a slimmed look. So we're going to do like a half contour. I'm going to stop kind of halfway down the bridge of my nose, but I really want to concentrate this where it meets my eyebrow. That way it creates that very skull-like skinny nose. So using the Makeup Forever shade M618 and a angled brush, I'm going to just create the very deepest part of the shadow in that ridge. So I'm just going to do it very lightly, and I'm only going to concentrate it in certain areas because I don't want it to be just one big brown line that goes down my forehead. So I'm just going to take it in select areas to give it a little bit of texture and a little bit more dimension. This step is going to be completely optional, but I decided to take that same shadow and I'm going to kind of flick it up in my brows a little bit more to make them bushier and a little bit more crazy looking, because in my drawing I did have them pretty bushy and crazy, and I felt like they hadn't really reached that point yet. But if you decide that your brows are fine the way they are, then you don't have to do this step. So now I'm just going to continue to make the lines on my face in the ridges where I want it to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more textured. So I'm going to just take it down the front of my face and probably focusing mostly on the sections that are in the very front, because I want those to pop a little bit extra than the ones on the side of my face. So before going into my lips, I'm going to add a little bit extra shadow on the underside of my lower lip. So now I'm going to go in with my Maybelline gel eyeliner and an angled brush, and I'm going to start sketching out my skull teeth. So I'm going to start in the middle and I'm going to work my way out. That way the lines are symmetrical with my lips. So when I first draw these on, I'm going to have them angled out, and then I'm going to draw a skinny line above my lip, and that's going to be angled in. That's just my personal preference, but you can draw yours however you like. I'm going to start with the top lip and then work to my bottom lip. That way when I close my mouth, the lines match up. So one important thing to keep in mind when drawing your teeth is that when you start in the front, those are going to be the largest teeth. And as they kind of move back into the back of your jaw, they're going to be smaller. And the reason for this is perspective. So the teeth in the front are going to be the largest, and as they move back in space, they're going to appear smaller. So you're going to want to draw them on smaller. So my final step for this look is I'm just going to go over my nose again, because with the powder, it really kind of muddled the black of the liner. So I'm just going to kind of go over that liner and make sure that it's really deep, dark, and black. So that is the look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, follow me on social media, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye!